As promised, here I am with a full long-form breakdown on passenger rights in a vehicle. What you can do, what you can't do, and what cops rely on you getting wrong. So, as a starting point, I think most people think that traffic stops are only about the driver, but that's not right. Passengers have rights. Different rights, but rights nonetheless. And police rely on the fact that most passengers don't know where those lines actually are. This isn't about being hostile or disrespectful with the officer. It's about knowing the rules of the system that you are in. So let's start with some questions. So the first question, are passengers required to identify themselves? The short answer is usually no. Sometimes, however, yes. It depends on a couple things. It depends on the state law, the state that you're in, and it also depends on what the officer can articulate at that time. The general rule is that a passenger is not required automatically to provide ID. And being in a car does not automatically equal you being suspected of a crime. Police often ask for ID, hoping that you will voluntarily comply and just give it to them. Now, this is when a passenger can be required to ID. If the officer has reasonable suspicion that you have committed a crime, if your state has stop and ID law, and if you are lawfully detained, not just present, but lawfully detained. This is what you say in those situations. I've said this so many times. Get this in your head. Am I being detained or am I free to go, free to remain silent? And this is what you say. And I've said, and this is all you say. Am I being detained or am I free to go? If they say detained, you can ask, what is the basis for the detention? Don't argue, don't explain. Ask real clean, short questions. Very clean, very short, keep it to a minimal. Now, another question. Can passengers be ordered out of the car? Yes, they can. In any situation. Police can legally order the driver out, the passengers out, and they don't even need reasonable suspicion to do that because this is for officer safety. There's a whole doctrine of law that says that they can do that for officer safety, even without reasonable suspicion. That's not a rights violation by itself, even though it might feel unfair or make you feel targeted. Now, can police search a passenger? Now, this is where people get it wrong. A frisk or a pat down. So, police can frisk a passenger only if they can articulate reasonable suspicion that the person is armed and dangerous. That's when they can frisk. If they are nervous alone, that's not enough. And being in a high crime area, that's not enough either. Now, when can they do a full search? Police cannot search a passenger's pockets, bags, or phone without consent or probable cause or arrest. The magic word that cops wait for is, sure, go ahead, your consent. They want you to consent. And if you say it, the search is legal. You got nothing to fight in court. What to say instead, I don't consent to any searches. And that's all you say. You say it once, you say it calmly, and then you stop talking. Fourth question. What about searching the car versus searching the passenger? Now, this distinction matters. Police can sometimes search the car. That does not automatically authorize searching the passengers. And here's the trap. If contraband is found in the car, police may claim constructive possession. They may say, and that's especially if ownership is unclear. And this is why passengers should never claim items. They shouldn't speculate, and they shouldn't even try to explain whose is what. Silence protects everyone in that situation. Everyone's silence. You can work it out later. Police, now, can passengers be questioned? Police can ask anything, sure, but you're not required to answer. You're not required to answer where you're coming, where you're going, who owns the car, or whether there's anything illegal inside. You don't got to answer any of that, and you're better off not doing it. The safest response is always, officer, all due respect, them to remain silent. You don't owe them a conversation. Even if they will try to bait you into it, but you don't have to. Now, can passengers record the stop? In most states, yeah. You can record police in public. You can record your own interaction, but you cannot interfere. You can't reach for your phone, and you can't refuse lawful orders while you're recording. So if you're told to stop recording, ask, am I being ordered to stop? Is that a lawful order that you're telling me? And it's right there on the camera with you saying that. And under what authority? Do not physically resist ever. That's a good way to get your ass slammed on the ground and arrested with more charges. Now, can passengers leave the scene? This is one of the most misunderstood areas. A passenger can leave only if the officer hasn't detained them. They're not needed for officer safety. That's why the question matters, am I being detained or am I free to go? If they say you're free to go, then go. I don't even care if your friend's there. Just walk off and find your friend later. You know? If they say free to leave, leave. So what not to do as a passenger? Here's some not to do's. These are the mistakes that police rely on you making, so listen. Volunteering information that you don't need to give. Arguing with them on the roadside. So a lot of officers actually like it when you argue with them. Trying to claim ownership of items. Joking around. Reaching suddenly. And lying. Don't lie because it creates more things to contradict you later. Silence isn't suspicious. Contradictions are suspicious. Reality check. Knowing your rights does not guarantee a smooth stop. That's just how it is. You might see these little clips where it works out good, but that don't always happen. It doesn't stop unlawful behavior in the moment, but it does preserve legal challenges later. It does protect you from self-incrimination, and it does stop you from making the situation work. Court is where rights are enforced. It's not going to be enforced there on the roadside. Go to jail, work it out later like the rest of us. If you're a passenger, your rights are real, but they're narrow and they're technical. Ask clean questions, don't consent, don't explain, don't escalate. And I'm here to help you understand that system. Stay clean, stay up.